Hello everyone, in this video I will be giving you a play-by-play behind the scenes look on how I did 2,000 squats in just over 80 minutes. Before I get into it, please remember to hit that like button, and we are trying to hit 2,000 subscribers by 2021, so please consider subscribing if you're new here. Now let's get into it. So before I go through the actual video, I want to make a couple things clear before I actually did the challenge. First of all, I never really did that much squat training. In my 1,000 squat and my 2,000 squat video, I didn't do squats daily, 100 squats daily, 50 squats daily. I didn't even incorporate them into my workouts. I really didn't do that many squats. And I think that's one of the big misconceptions about this video, is that 2,000 squats or 1,000 squats even, as in the previous video in that sort of mini series, is that those challenges are extremely physically taxing. I got a lot of comments on the TikTok videos that blew up, as well on this YouTube, on the YouTube video, about how I wasn't able to walk the next day, and I must have done 1,000 squats a day or 500 squats a day to prepare for it, all that kind of stuff. It really wasn't that big or as important of a challenge in my mind, and that was represented in the physical toll that it took on me. So no, I did not do any special training whatsoever for it. I just thought it would be fun. 1,000 squats went well, so I was going for 2,000 squats. I also found throughout it that it was much more of a mental challenge than a physical one. It was really just about getting into a zone and keeping a consistent pace throughout the entire roughly hour and a half that it ended up taking. So now let's get into and watch this video. About a month ago, I did a video where I did 1,000 squats without removing my feet from these two squares. In the description of that video, I said that another thing to keep in mind, those two squares actually weren't as constricting as you may think. Everything I needed was within arm's reach of me, and there was a few feet of space to move around in there. So the duct tape sort of squares around my feet was more for dramatic effect than anything, and it really didn't impact the challenge that much. If it got to 100 likes, I would do 2,000 squats, so basically a part 2. Well, it actually ended up getting over 100 likes, so here I am. I'm going to be doing 2,000 consecutive squats in this video without moving my feet from these two squares. So it should be super fun, it should be super hard. I'm ready to go. Let's jump right into it. Yeah, on the original TikTok video that I posted for 1,000 squats, they got, I think, 1.5 million views combined on the two. I got literally dozens, if not hundreds of comments about how these squares that I called them, were actually rectangles. So yes, they are technically rectangles, squares just sounded nicer. As I said, it took me roughly half an hour to do the 1,000 squats, so on that pace it would take me a full hour to do it. Now, assuming that I tire and slow down, it'll take me anywhere from an hour 15 to an hour and a half to finish it, and throughout the... So that is an interesting thing to note. It took me half an hour roughly to do 1,000 squats, but just over 80 minutes to do 2,000. So if you assume that if I had kept the same pace, I would have finished in 60 minutes. So I was, give or take, 30% slower in terms of pace on 2,000 squats versus 1,000. Entire time, I will not move my feet from outside of those squares a single time. So with me, I have some water, of course, to drink. I am not bringing any food, unlike last time, because I didn't really eat much, and it's not a super long thing, so I shouldn't. That's another thing to note. The only challenge I've actually eaten a lot of food is, or actually there's two, I'd say. One would be 1,000 squats. I had a whole bag of chickpea snack things next to me, and I was just munching on those throughout all of it. And then in the recent 500 pull-ups challenge video, I did a whole lot of eating there, but I think that was just because I missed a meal and I was kind of hungry and I was burning a heck of a lot of calories. Need food. Then I have a magnesium oil sports spray. So you can spray this and it basically helps muscles relax and reduces tension. I also have a version of that in a cream. Give me 1 second. Here we go. I actually still have this one right here, this product. I actually don't really recommend this one. It's by LifeFlow. The one I more use is the Penetrex Arnica Cream. I really do recommend that for bruises, swelling, and all types of sport-related skin issues and muscular issues. In case I start to cramp or anything like that happens. Then I have a timer on my phone going. You will see a timer on the bottom of the screen. And for entertainment, I will be watching the newest James Bond movie on my computer, which I haven't seen yet. So that's why I'll be looking this way. That is another thing to note. I've never really listened to music in any of my challenges. I've either watched a movie or I've just done nothing. The only exception to that rule is the 500 pull-ups challenge, in which I did listen to music. So no, it wasn't boring at all, and that's another really element that I think is there's a large sort of misconception around. You know, if I'm watching a movie while doing some squats, you know, that's I don't consider that painful or, you know, any of the typical sort of negative energy that's associated with exercise. You know, I enjoy that. I have fun doing that, and I get to do something, you know, push my limits, do something I've never done before, and get a video out of it. So yeah, just turning on a movie and doing some exercise is a great way to have yourself enjoy it more while still getting that work in. I also really like to stretch while watching movies. I find that lets me sort of forget that I'm stretching, but still get that stretch while sort of enjoying that time. To keep count of my squats, because it is a lot, I will be writing down every time I do 50 on this pad of paper. So every time I do 50, I'll put a little mark, and I basically just have to get 40 marks. That sort of 50 system is something I've used in pretty much every single one of my challenges ever. I'll either have a whiteboard or a pad of paper, typically a whiteboard. I actually have this whiteboard right here. So yeah, this whiteboard has gotten me through many challenge, and I found that the 50 system works pretty easily. And I've never had an issue with counting. I've never sort of lost count, in part due to that. And even within the 50, I find it's not that hard to just remember sort of what rep I'm on. What I'll also sometimes do, like in the pull-up one, is break that down into even smaller segments. So say 10 reps, and then every 10 reps draw a line. So that helps me keep track of it, because it would really, really be bad if I somehow lost count or miscounted. To finish the full 2,000 reps. So that's pretty much it. There's nothing left to do but execute and get it done. So I'll be preparing right now, I'll be stretching out, and then we'll get it started in just a minute or so. Okay, here we go. I just put my feet into squares. It's on for... So yeah, I'm getting into it. I did do a little bit of stretching, but not too much. Got everything set up, and then I was ready to go. So here we go again. Real now, and as soon as I start this timer, the challenge is officially off. So here we go. Before I do start this in the video, I want to say one more thing. A lot of people were wondering if my camera had issues, if the cards, the storage, the memory cards sort of filled up or ran out, because it is a lot of just footage, you know, a lot of raw amount of footage. To answer that, multiple times, I think probably a dozen times across all my videos, I've had storage cards run out. I've used typically 32 gigabyte storage file memory cards, or 64 gigs, which do tend to run out rather quickly. But recently I did upgrade to a 256 gigabyte card, so that will pretty much end all my issues in relation to that, as long as I just remember to clear any footage on there beforehand. That's 5 down out of 2,000. So that is 20 down out of 1,000. I also make sure to have my timer a timer set across multiple devices. So I'll typically have one on a watch along with a phone, and then I'll have the footage as a backup. So that way I can really make sure I don't mess up the time in any way. I need to do what I just did exactly 100 more times. So I'm focusing on form, at least in the start, and although that'll probably degrade by the end, just know I am trying, but it's tough. As for the question of form, yes, I'll admit my form wasn't great, wasn't perfect, to say the least, as mentioned by many an angry commenter. But I'll just say that if I'm doing 2,000 of something, I am not prioritizing form to the degree that I otherwise would. I think my form still was average. You know, if you ask someone to do 50 squats, I think the average person would do something similar to that. And I did really try to clean up my form in the last couple hundred reps once my body was feeling good and I wasn't at risk of somehow hurting myself and wanting to keep sort of pushing through that. Another thing I've noted is, I just said there a very long time. It actually only took an hour and a half. That's not really too long. I've noted that a lot of the challenges that I think will take a really long time actually go by either really quickly or don't take as much time as I would think they would take. That's been a really common theme. And to make up for that, and as well to just see what I can do, I have been really increasing the rep count or increasing the difficulty in order to make them these challenges last longer. My recent 500 pull-ups challenge, I think took, what, three and something hours, so that definitely took a lot longer. And you'll likely see that continue as a trend in the future. I'm gonna spend a very long time doing an exercise. It's not gonna be fun, but I just need to push through and do it. So I also wanna go over one thing I didn't mention in the video, which is how sore I was afterwards. So I'll just cover that for my past self. A lot of people, as I mentioned already, thought literally the top comments were, I bet he couldn't walk for a day. I know for a fact he couldn't walk for a day. You know, there's a lot of comments like that. But I gotta tell you, I'm not saying this to be like mock show or anything. The level of soreness was really not that bad. I don't know what it was, but I will be more sore if I go do a 15-minute HIIT workout or some CrossFit workout, or like wall balls, for example. Wall balls get me every single time. I could do 30 wall balls as fast as possible, and my legs would be more sore than doing 2,000 squats. I don't know why this is exactly, but I think squats are something that once you do enough of them, it's so repetitive that it doesn't really shock the muscle, if that makes sense. And therefore there's less sort of DOMS, delayed onset muscle soreness. So yeah, it really wasn't as bad as you'd think. I was definitely sore to an extent, but it wasn't pain in a sense. It just, my legs felt sort of heavy, and I could still, thankfully, walk. So it's the day after. This audio is being filmed or being recorded the day after. And I just want to let you know it is very, very sore, as can be expected. Of course, this was not easy. 1,000 squats, when I did that one, I actually wasn't that sore. I was fine within a day or two. But this one, yeah, so it definitely has gotten worse. But again, that is to an extent. There was that feeling of heaviness. But again, it's not really pain because I don't think it shocked the muscle. And I think overemphasize that a little in this commentary. It's gotten progressively worse since I did it yesterday morning, and it's the night of the following day. Okay, just about to hit 15 minutes. I'm 430 reps through, so nearly a quarter. So let's calculate that really quickly. 430 reps in 15 minutes. 15 minutes is, let's see, 900 seconds. So that's roughly 900 divided by 430 is one squat every 2.09 seconds. So pretty much exactly one squat every 2 seconds. Now, if we think about how my pace during the first 1,000, it took roughly 30 minutes. 30 minutes is, let's see, 1800 seconds for the 1,000 squats. That would be one squat every 1.8 seconds. So I am less than within a 10% range sort of my speed in the first 1,000 squats video challenge, as well as this 2,000 squats challenge. So that's good. I'm holding the pace, but I think it really takes it to another level in that last sort of 500. That's where my pace could really slow down and get impacted, as opposed to just these first 500. Of the weight done, I'm reaching that point after 400 where it goes from being easy to my muscles sort of tightening up. I'm not really feeling as loose as I once was, and based on my previous experience, they'll start to loosen up again, get in the groove, and just keep it going. So now we get to the point where I'm past the first couple hundred, that sort of feeling of just greatness, for lack of better words, of looseness, of just not really being fully into it yet, if that makes sense, sort of starts to go away. And now I'm really getting into that core middle, just 1,000 rep grind. So my legs did certainly start to tighten up. I found that my experience throughout this, in terms of how my legs felt, is akin to a sort of runner's high, where runners will be sort of not feeling great for some periods, and then other periods in a race they'll feel great. They'll just feel, so to speak, metaphorically high. And that was definitely how I felt throughout this. You know, my legs would be maybe a little tight for 10 minutes, then not so tight for 15 minutes, and then so on, back and forth. 100. So I'm just gonna try and get out of this spot where I am, loosen them up, and then keep it going. Minutes from 15 to 23 went by pretty fast. It was from set roughly 430 all the way up to near 750. So those reps were really just something to get out of the way, because I'd already started, you know, it was a long time till the finish. It was just grinding through for at least, 500 squats. But again, I just kept up that solid pace. Roughly, I tried to do a squat every 2 seconds. So kept that up and kept it going. I also don't suggest anyone does this at home or tries it at home, since we'll now skip to 733 to 750 squats done, because that middle sort of area is really just getting all those squats out of the way. So this is what I was talking about, where I just sort of go through phases of feeling good and feeling not good. This is one of those low points, but soon after, I'm sure I'll go through another high point. So this is probably the most sort of angst-ridden moment for me throughout this, or time period, I guess. Once I knew I could do 1,000, basically. I'd already done 1,000, I was feeling confident in my pace for 1,000. And my pace for 1,000 was very, very close, within 10 to 15% of that I held for the first 1,000 squats challenge. So the fact that I could hold that pace was something that I already knew, but the sort of unexpected and the unknown aspect would come later in that last 1,000 reps. So at this point I was concerned, I didn't know if I would feel great and do the whole 1,000 completely fine, or if I would start to, hit a wall around 1,300 or 1,600 or whatever it may be. I didn't know, and I didn't really like that. So I was just really waiting for those cramps the entire time to hit me, but they actually never really came. There were never really super bad cramps, other than some sort of light stiffening during the challenge. I find that, as I mentioned, I can do 20 wall balls and my legs will be cramped up for days. Like, there are some things that just shock, I'm sure me personally as well as other people, that shock those leg muscles. But for me, squats just isn't one of them, and that's how I was able to do so many with really just little lasting effect to my legs. However, I think it's also important to note that if I can do several thousand of these with little effect on my body, it probably also doesn't have any little positive effect on my body. Or so to speak, there was probably little change, little impact on my muscles, so to speak, few gains, I think would be better words, few gains as a result of this. And that's a whole another misconception I want to talk about. That was a lot of commenters were referring to in the video, videos across multiple social platforms. I didn't magically, my legs didn't explode. I don't have massive legs. You know, I'm a cross-country runner, I'm a track runner. You know, I don't have super massive legs or anything, and certainly not as a result of these 2,000 squats. Yeah, we're gonna skip now to 1150 in the video to 1800 squats done. $1,800 squats, consecutive squats down. So there we go. Right now I'm at 1800 reps out of 2000. At this point, I was feeling great. You know, as I said, there was that unknown aspect of it that really was messing with me. That just wasn't something that I wanted, because it was sort of playing with fire in terms of my health and my body, and getting injured or something like that really wasn't something I wanted, and wasn't something that I could control if it did happen. So I wanted to sort of play it safe during that, but by the rep 1800, I was really sure that I wasn't going to get injured, and I was feeling good. So I was just excited at that point to finish out the last 200 reps. I've been in the zone for the last 20 minutes. We're at, let's see, in roughly an hour and 10 minutes through. I'm feeling good. You know, I'm sweating a ton, you might be able to see, and I'm definitely slowing down, but $100 to go, last 2 sets. I'm definitely getting tight, getting sore, still sweating a lot. Last 100 reps to go. I'm 90% really of the way done. So just need to finish it up at this point. My body was feeling fine physically, mentally I was ready to go. So yeah, it was nice. It was a good feeling, certainly, being able to finish off that last just little bit after having accomplished so much in that last hour. Getting tired, and I'm glad to get out of these 2 squares. So just the last 100 to finish up, and I'll get going right now. So one thing I do want to note is, as I already have said, I wasn't that sore from it in terms of the day after, and I was sort of fearing that the fact that I didn't know if I would hit a wall, I didn't know what would happen, but I did know towards those last couple hundred reps, I did start to get a lot tighter. Those were really had the most impact on my body. They did, I'm sure, result in most of the effects and the DOMs that I felt after. And for that reason, I'm now even more unknown. I guess I don't really know what will happen after 2,000 squats. I haven't yet done 3,000 squats or anything beyond that, but I do have a feeling that at some point I should sort of hit a wall where my muscles just don't want to go any longer as a runner would. I already mentioned that runner's high playing out in this video, in this challenge. So it'll be interesting to see if I do any squat challenges in the future, if there actually is that wall, if I can push through it, if I just, who knows, tear a muscle. I don't know what'll happen, but it will certainly be interesting whenever I try it again to see. One hour, 19 minutes through, 1,950 consecutive squats down. We're gonna go at normal speed these last 50 reps. So count with me, we're nearly there. Yeah, just 50 reps to go. I was completely fine at that point, just feeling great and excited to close it out. Also at this point, you can see my squats have pretty good form. I'm going in that full 90-degree angle with my legs. So now that I know I'm not going to get injured, now that I know my body does have the physical capability to carry out those full 2,000 reps, I'm feeling good with form, so I'm really prioritizing that form and getting the full range of motion in that squat in all of my movements. Ten to go. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That is 1,999 squats. Oh, and that is 2,000 consecutive squats without moving my feet from these two squares. As customary, we always do one extra rep. So yeah, I do one extra rep. If you watch the channel regularly, you know that pretty much every single, no, not pretty much, every single challenge, no matter what, I do one extra rep. I don't know really where that started, but I guess I just normally do one extra rep on a lot of my workouts, just to get that little push, that little extra sort of strain on my body. So I certainly do that as well as in the gym in these challenges. So one extra rep every single time, no exceptions. Just because we can. So there we go, 2001, 1 hour, 21 minutes. Yeah, so that is what I mentioned. My storage cards, my files would often fill up, and then my camera would either stop recording or die. In this case, the camera actually died, as in the battery just gave out. So now I'll have several batteries on hand, or I'll be filming with multiple cameras, so that way I never lose that footage, as did happen here, but thankfully I did learn my lesson. So that was absolutely killer workout. Hey, 2001 squats, that is that's the most amount of reps consecutively of any exercise that I've ever done in my entire life. And here we go. It's the moment at least I've been waiting for. Oh, yeah. Step in. Yeah, that is the most amount of reps I've done of any single exercise ever. But that I view as merely a challenge to be topped. So who knows, 2,500, 3,000, 4,000 even. We will see what the future may hold. I'm gonna call the video there. Let me know if you enjoy this type of commentary style videos, of reflections, of sort of behind the scenes type of stuff of some of my older videos. If you do enjoy it, make sure to comment, let me know. As I've already said, please remember to like this video, and we are aiming to hit 2,000 subscribers by 2021. It's been a crazy year, but these challenges have been a great part of it, as well as this channel, so please do consider subscribing. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.